Morning, everybody. Welcome back to Haywire Homestead. It is super chilly, foggy. I think it's only like 42 and it's supposed to be even colder in the mornings the next couple of days. I'm not ready. I'm not looking forward to it at all. I'm taking some leftovers over to the chickens, and then I've got to get to the barn chores and get everyone taken care of. But I thought I'd show you some of the things that are still growing and what all else is going on here in the homestead. This is our, I call this my kitchen garden, which has herbs. So there is my lemon thyme. This plant is like 4 or 5 years old. I love it. Lemon thyme is probably one of my favorite herbs to use. I put it in soups, I use it for chicken, all kinds of stuff. We have Malabar spinach, which actually volunteered from seeds that must have dropped off the plant last year, and it is now taking over my grill. We have chives. We have walking onions. We had basil in here, but it pretty much died with the cold. We have parsley, more parsley. We have rosemary. This is my 3-year-old pawpaw tree that I got seeds from when I went to the Stivers Homestead, their harvest conference a couple years ago. Sage. For some reason, I'm really good at growing sage. I don't use very much of it, but I do take it to markets to sell. This pawpaw tree is not looking quite as happy. I do think I probably need to transplant it. We also have Swiss chard, 2 different colors. And then we have cilantro. This is my bay leaf plant. I ordered it off of Amazon. So now I'm actually growing my own bay leaf. So it's a perennial, and we can just keep letting it grow into a bush. It does best in containers, so that's where it's staying. And then we of course have our comfrey down here on the end. I need to harvest some of that. I've got to make a salve here soon that I'm going to be putting up for sale. The banana peppers are not looking the greatest with the cold, but there still is a few on there that we can eat. And then we're going to head out this way to the garden. Thought I'd also show you guys the fence. We redid the fence for the chickens. We actually used to have this divided into 3 separate areas. We decided to simplify things. We don't need a bunch of different varieties of chickens. So the frizzles were rehomed, and now we just have a mixed layer flock, which works well for selling eggs and having eggs for our family. So we ripped out the center partition fence, took out the extra gate that was on this side, and just put all new fence. Now some people would probably say, why don't you have hardware cloth? Well, our girls and Guy get locked up in that coop at night. So it's got hardware cloth. It is, been predator proofed. I've had this coop for 5-6 years. I have never had anything get in it. I know never say never, but it's apparently doing its job pretty well. So as long as everybody's locked up, we don't have a problem. But the really cool thing that we like about having the 2x4 fence, welded wire fence, is that our chickens can stick their heads through it and they can kind of weed eat this themselves. So they self weed eat, which, cuts down on all the stuff that we have to do. Also can take this opportunity to, I think I've shared Filbert with everyone, which is our Tom turkey. Well, there is his new girlfriend. That is Karen. Karen is pretty talkative and pretty spoiled from her previous owner. And we really like her. And Filbert seems to like her too. So hopefully we'll have some turkey. So it's pretty empty here. We've already laid some plastic and stuff down to help cut down and kill the weeds. We will then do, basically we'll pull the plastic off, we'll cultivate it, we'll allow the weeds to start to sprout, and we'll cover it back up again to help kill the weeds. We're working really, really hard to get rid of a noxious weed. I believe it's in the wild amaranth family, and it is, another friend of mine from the ag department told me it's called smartweed. And you know what, I'd have to agree with her because this stuff's outsmarting us. We did broccoli. We got it started a little bit late in germination, so most of it has bolted, but I can come out and still get leaves. There are some tiny little florets on it, but unfortunately I don't think we're gonna get anything off of it. The chickens had free reign in here for a little bit, so they definitely had fun eating some of the leaves. But we still have some beautiful little gem lettuce that I actually need to pick. And then this is the area we've got to finish cleaning up here. We've got to add material to some of these newer raised beds that we put in, and we never really finished them. So I just want to let everybody know, it is not easy doing this, and it is a lot of work. And when you work full-time, it's a lot of work, and you're gonna get frustrated because you're gonna feel like the list is never ending. And it doesn't. And I think that it's just important to remember, and this is how I remind myself so I don't lose my mind, is that just one day at a time, one thing at a time. Make a list, prioritize it, and then go from there. This is something that, yes, we really need to tackle, and it'll get done here in the next week or so. You know, but I'm not going to torture myself. This was all the sweet potato vine that we pulled out. And everybody else thought I was crazy to try to eat it, because I do know the leaves and stuff are edible. So nobody else in the family wanted to eat it. So it'll be composted. This is my Utah celery. It is still doing awesome. I've been cutting it off and using it fresh. Okay, and then before it gets too super cold here, I really need to cut it all off and get it in the dehydrator. Those two beds will just have material added to them. This one we actually filled from cleaning out goat pens, so it'll just need to sit, and then we'll till it up and probably add just a little bit more organic material, maybe some peat, and maybe some vermiculite. The hens definitely had fun in this bed. This is a sweet potato bed. And I've got these on here so that way in this early spring, I can put some cabbages and things in here and then just cover it if need be, when they're still tender. This bed is actually full of garlic. So I just got that planted. I planted over 100 bulbs. 3 different varieties. There's 2 hard neck and 1 soft neck variety, and forgive me, I do not know what they are. We have protein tubs that my uncle gets me for free, which is great because otherwise I know people sell them. We cut the bottoms out of all of them, and then we fill them with dirt, and then we did container potatoes, and then you just pull up on them and pull them out. My carrots did not do really well. I'm actually going to completely change this. This down here, I'm going to take all this stuff out and put some more of the raised beds like this in it. And these are either going to go to the top of the garden or out by the high tunnel, somewhere where I can more easily water them, because I think one of the biggest issues that I had with the carrots this year is that they just didn't get enough water, and it was really hard to get down here and water them. We are talking about also putting some irrigation lines in here, some drip lines. From Haas Tools. That's what we have in the high tunnel, and we're talking about doing that out here as well. Oh, goodness, I'm getting long-winded this morning, aren't I? Okay, let's just wrap this up. So this is kind of an update of how things are going, and we will talk more in another video on what the plans are for the future.